Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another ranking video where I am going to be giving my final thoughts on some of the items that I have been trying out lately. A first impression, it's all fine and dandy and I love doing first impressions, but it is equally important, or maybe even more important, to get back to you a couple of weeks later letting you know what I think about the products after I've used them a bit more. And that is what this video is. I do them somewhat monthly, sometimes more often, sometimes less often, but now I think it's actually been less than a month since I did one, and I just let you know about all the things that I've been trying out behind the scenes and also on YouTube, and I rank them from absolute trash to new holy grail. I'm also extra excited because this video is in collaboration with HelloFresh, so thank you so much HelloFresh for sponsoring another video on my channel. I've been using HelloFresh first as a customer for years and years. We actually started using HelloFresh, I think back in 2020, when me and my husband decided that we were eating way too much takeout and we needed to take control not only of like what we were eating, but also the financials. Having takeout all the time is expensive and we don't really like going to the grocery store. We don't hate cooking together. It's really nice to like break out a recipe and cook something together, but the whole having to plan a meal, find a recipe, buy the ingredients, you know, sometimes you have to buy ingredients that you only use once and then they're just taking up space in your pantry or taking up space in your refrigerator for, well, years to come. So I'm really excited that HelloFresh will deliver your ingredients to your doorstep already pre-measured so that you get only the amount that you're actually going to be using, which for us saves us so much like throwing away food, because we don't really throw away food anymore with HelloFresh because we get what we need and we use all of it, and that's about it. And even though our little family is only 2 people, we do get the box for 4 people so that we can have lunch boxes for the day after. I would say this is one of the best ways of saving money, is to just have leftovers for lunch. We all know how expensive it is to go out and eat every day for lunch, especially if you're working in an office, which my husband is. So saving money with eating leftovers, especially yummy leftovers like HelloFresh, is just such a good idea. And if you're like me and sometimes you realize that you're like hungry and you want food like now, this very instant, HelloFresh also offers a lot of really quick and time efficient recipes where you can get food on the table in like 20 or 30 minutes. And we always try to pick at least one of those because sometimes I just want food now, and HelloFresh has over 40 different recipes or dishes to choose from each week, and we always find stuff that we like. Me and my husband always order the vegetarian box, and even though we only pick the vegetarian dishes, I still feel like there are plenty of good things to choose from, which is really important for me because sometimes I feel like I don't want to eat the same thing again and again and again, and with HelloFresh there's always something new that I haven't seen before to choose from. Also check out the HelloFresh Market, which offers different kinds of snacks, breakfast options, and just add-ons to keep your box being extra fun and giving you even more options to save time during the week. So definitely go through the link down below and just see what they have. They have so many delicious and just honestly easy foolproof recipes that taste like restaurant quality meals. So go to hellofresh.com and use the code Angelica16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That is hellofresh.com and use the code Angelica16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. And thank you again HelloFresh for sponsoring this part of the video. I am per usual such a happy HelloFresh customer. Now let's get into the ranking part of this video. I do actually have a couple of things that, not that they're duds, well maybe a couple of these are duds, not that they're necessarily duds, but they're just like pretty mediocre releases that doesn't make sense in my collection. And I will try and explain to the best of my ability why it doesn't make sense in my collection and why it might make sense in your collection. And I want to start with this concealer from Say. I was one of those like memes. I'm rooting for you. I was hoping that this Say concealer was going to work out for me, but it is very creasy in my under eyes, and I always powder my under eyes because I have a lot of fine lines in my under eyes. I am 39 years old and I do have a lot of fine lines on my under eyes, so I always powder. And even with my favorite powder and even with using a very small amount of product, I am not able to get this to not crease and look kind of porridgey kind of quickly. So I just don't think that this wears very gracefully on me whatsoever. And also it is a pretty low coverage concealer, which doesn't bother me at all. But the whole creasing, even though I'm powdering, it just makes my under eyes, I have to use so much powder and it makes it look heavy while still not giving any coverage, and then it still creases. So for me, this is a no-go. I think that if you are looking for more light to medium coverage, or maybe light coverage, and you don't have fine lines in your under eyes, maybe this could be for you. But for me, that did not work out. I also want to I'm going to put these together because I didn't think that any of these were especially good. I do have another one of these pens somewhere. Oh! This is from Moira. All of these are from Moira. These are the liquid liners and the pen liners. And I have this pen liner in the light green as well. And I've only tried the green shades. So this is me reviewing the green shades. These are pretty sheer. They're pretty liquidy and sheer. They're not a super great formula to work with, if I'm gonna be honest. There are other liquid liners that I would recommend over these. Game Beauty had beautiful like liquid liners, and if you're looking like a color like this, Game Beauty has that in a liquid liner that's opaque and super easy to work with. These pens they swatch nicely, and I feel like sometimes when you see like swatches of things, you're like, oh, that's gonna be amazing, but they're a little tuggy, they're hard to get in the waterline, and I only wear stuff like this on the waterline. They're a little bit too dry as well to be super easy to work with on a lid like mine that is a little bit, like I said, mature. The skin will be moving. I don't have super firm lids. So for me, both of these are pretty mediocre, and I am kind of wanting to get rid of them. They don't get to stay. Sorry. I heard a lot of people really liking this. This is the LA Girl Foreplay eyeshadows. I had a lot of people really liking these, and I have done one video where I'm using this, and I've been trying it out a lot behind the scenes, just trying to wrap my head around what I feel about this. I don't hate the mattes. I think the mattes they're decent. They're like good for the price. They're not amazing. They're nothing to like write home about, but they're decent. They're good for the price. Both of them are light though on the lid. I have a light medium skin tone, and on me, both of these are leaning pretty light. The shimmers are pretty dry, and even though I've applied them on camera with a finger, like if you apply a shimmer with a finger, let me actually pull out a palette, here, that has a really good shimmer. So if you can just compare, I'll do a green here, and I'll do the green in the LA Girl. And I think that you can see that there's like just so much more, maybe you can't, emollients to this one. This is the good quality one, and this one is the one from LA Girl. Do you see that it's like sheer and it's almost looking a little bit dry? And it's one of those formulas that is just, it feels crumbly, it feels dry, there's not enough binders in it, and it doesn't really stick to the lid. Maybe if you use a glitter glue, but I can't use glitter glues on my eyes because it just creases even more. So for me, glitter glues is a no-go. If I spray it, I can make it look okay, but I'm gonna be honest with you, if you're wanting to buy eyeshadow from the drugstore, I wouldn't recommend this. I mean, if you're at Target, you can buy ColourPop. I think they have better quality than this. I also think that even though I'm not the biggest fan of the e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadows, I do think that they're a step above what this is offering right here. And if you're at Ulta, you can go to the drugstore section there. You also have more options to choose from. I would say Juvia's Place is a similar price range as well, or like a little bit above, and you can get something that's like more pigmented. And that's just like what I like in eyeshadows. I like them to be pigmented, and I like my shimmers to hold together a little bit more and not be this dry, because I feel like it's just giving this not really there kind of a result on the eyes, which I don't love. It's not giving sparkly topper sensation. It's not really a topper shadow. It is a metallic with two little binders, so it just looks a little dry on the lids. Technically, this product does what it says it's gonna do. This is the Glow Wish Bright Lights Sheer Concealer. It is a brightening sheer concealer, but I have been using this more as almost like a skin tint, like just putting it like and blending it over my face to get a sheer. Oh my god, did you hear my dog snoring? That was so loud. To get like a sheer skin tint all over the face, and to get this container for a skin tint, it's so sheer that the only place where this concealer makes sense is when I use a tinted sunscreen. And if you want to see me use this together with a tinted sunscreen, I did do that in my 10-minute makeup challenge that I had up last week on my channel. I did do that together with this one. And I mean, for that sense, it does make some kind of a sense to have it there, but like overall, I think that this is one of those things that if you really have to love no makeup to like this product. For me, I like a light to medium coverage concealer. That makes sense for me, but this is so sheer and so dewy glowy in the finish that it just doesn't fill really a spot in my collection. And next I'm going to talk about this one, and I got this as PR. This is from Merit. By the way, I will link all the things that I'm talking about down in the description box, and I will put a little star behind the things that I got in PR and the things that I bought myself. I think so far all of these things I have bought myself. This is the first thing that I got in PR, and I got this from Merit, and this is the tinted lip oil slick gelée in maraschino. I love a sheer red lip oil lip gloss. If you've been on my channel, you know that I love that, but this one has some faults. First of all, the applicator is so small that you literally have to like quadruple dip in this one to get any product on your lips, and I don't understand the point of this. And I don't even have big lips, but I just have to be dipping and applying, dipping and applying. And it's also so sheer that I feel like it's too thin on my lips. It literally disappears too quickly. If this were supposed to be like a nourishing lip oil thing to put on your lips, you would have to reapply so often because it disappears immediately. And if you were wanting to wear this as a lip gloss because it is colored, you'll have to reapply all the time. And when you reapply, you have to dip and apply and dip and apply. I think this one missed the mark for me. I have so many good lip oils in my collection that I love. This one doesn't feel like fill a purpose because I have so many better ones that are this color, like the one from Lunar Beauty that I love, and the one from Nomad Cosmetics that I love, that I like more than this one. So for me, this is just, it just doesn't make sense. This is a product that the first time I used it, I was like, oh, this is nice. And the more I've used it, the more I'm like, I don't know what happened here. And that is the Lost in Wonderland palette between Colourpop and Alice in Wonderland. The more I use this, the more I'm like, these colors, first of all, this is not the amazing Colourpop quality. They're okay. They're okay, but these colors don't go together. This doesn't make sense. Like this one, you can't blend it out with this one because this is too much of a pastel. It doesn't really show. Then there's a stark matte black. I tried to do a look with these three and it was okay, but it was a struggle. And like, it's just a weird color story where I'm like, okay, maybe this represents the movie. I don't know. I've only seen the movie once. It's not my personal favorite movie from Disney. But sometimes you have to look at a color story and be like, okay, but like, is it usable? And that's sometimes when I see people like complain about like collabs not representing the movie. I'm like, well, yes, it should represent the movie, but it also should be a usable palette, because sometimes when I see suggestions of what people would like a palette to be, it either turns into a palette that's absolutely unusable. Like, what are you going to do with that palette? Like, it has to be usable as well. It's not a painting, it's not merch, it's not a collectible, it's a makeup item. You need to be able to use it, or it turns into a rainbow palette. So sometimes I think that like this is that one where it's like, maybe this is exactly what the movie is, but I don't think the color story makes 100% sense. I don't love it for that reason. Next, I'm gonna go into this one. This is from Gloss Gods. I'm actually wearing another palette from Gloss Gods today that I'm really, really enjoying. It is, I will, in the pinned comment, I will put a link to this makeup look because it's already live on my channel. In case you want to see me create this look right here, I'm using some products from Gloss Gods. Check the pinned comment. This one is the Your Forever Love, and this one wasn't my favorite palette from them, not only because it is more of a neutral leaning palette. I have nothing against that. I think the shimmers are really pretty, but I think that these mattes, first of all, these two are too similar, and I also think that these two are a little too sheer to be the darkest color of the palette. So I think that this palette is an okay palette, but definitely not my favorite from Gloss Gods. I think this palette is way better than this one is. And then we're getting into something, there's nothing wrong with this. This is a good quality product, but I will never reach for this again because it doesn't make sense in my collection. And that is this Metallics quad, Basic Elements quad by LH Cosmetics. It is 4 very sparkly metallic shades, very high quality metallics, but they're 4 neutral metallics. Where am I going with this? It's beautiful. It really, really is. But where am I going with this? It's not for me. And I realized that. It's just, I love the packaging of these. And LH Cosmetics did let me know that they have something new coming out that they were going to send me in PR, which I'm super excited about. And again, quality, there's nothing wrong with it. But for metallic neutral shades, where am I going? And then we're going to mention this one. This is the metallic that I pulled from. This is the Moonfall palette by Shroud Cosmetics. The metallics in this palette is extraordinary, super beautiful, high pigmented, easy to work with, very like high shine, sparkly metallics, the kind of metallics that I like. There are two things with this palette that I don't love. First of all, it's very dark leaning. Very, very, very dark leaning. So this is a companion palette for me. I need something to blend this out with. I need something for contrast because I love a dark palette. But overall, I love a contrasted palette. And this is only offering me the dark shade. So for me, this is a companion palette. That's not the end of the world, but I do think the mattes are a little bit tricky to work with. They are a little bit dry and very high pigmented, and when I blend on the edges, they do turn almost a little bit gray muddy, and I don't know what about this formulation is making them like that. I've actually done a couple of looks with this one, and I did do one for... I don't remember. I did a reel and I filmed the video afterwards, and I remember coming into that video saying I actually have to wipe off my makeup and start again, because when I was blending some of these together, it just turned into such an absolutely ugly brownish gray mess, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm a newbie. And I'm not a pro, but I'm pretty good with eyeshadow, and I'm pretty good with colored eyeshadow, and I'm pretty good with matte, colorful shadows. But I just weren't able to get this to work. And the reason why this one is a little bit lower down is then because if I, as someone that is very used to working with bright, dark, colorful mattes, if I can't make it work, I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but if I'm having trouble with it, I'm thinking maybe some of you will as well. This is the Kosas Glow IV Skin Enhancer. This is like that shimmery, like, either wear it as a primer or as a foundation, blah, 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 blah. This one doesn't work as good, according to me, as like the Charlotte Tilbury one or even the e.l.f. one, because of a simple reason. This is very sparkly. This is one of those, like, you can see the sparkly mica in it. If you have looked at the Makeup by Mario releases, if you've looked at any of the reviews of the Makeup by Mario foundation, this one has the same thing. It is sparkly mica within the foundation that just makes you look almost a little glittery, almost a little metallic. Like, instead of giving you a glow from within healthy skin, you're looking a little bit like the Tin Man, which is not exactly what I'm going to go for. This one mixed with foundation looks beautiful, but if I mix this one with foundation, I cannot apply it around here, because if I look metallic in my T-zone, I am going to look horrible throughout the day. And it's also going to emphasize, because of, again, I'm 39, I do have some fine lines and some divots and some texture in this area. And this one is not going over wonderfully over that. So I do think that this is an okay product, but it's a little finicky. It's a little finicky in my humble experience. Okay, next one is this one. This is very hyped, and I feel the same about this one as I feel about the Merit one. This one I bought myself. This is the NYX Fat Oil, Lip Drip Fat Oil. It's okay. It's okay, but nothing more. I personally like the lip oils from Colourpop more because they are more watery and a little bit more pillowy on the lips. My personal opinion. I think the Sigma ones are better. I think the Blend Bunny are better. I think Lunar Beauty are better. I like the Colourpop more. There are so many lip oils that I prefer over this one. Yes, it is an affordable option. Yes, it comes in different colors, but it's not my favorite. It's looking a little bit more like a lip gloss that doesn't wear for a long time. That's how this one is. It's like a lip gloss that just stays oily looking on lips for a very short amount of time, and then it just looks like a lip gloss that needs reapplying. It's not bad, but it's definitely not my favorite lip oil. If I were to recommend a lip oil, I would recommend any of the other brands that I mentioned. I actually really like the formula of this one, and I like the formula of this one the way that I like the old formulation of this one as well. And this is the Kosas The Sun Show, and this one is in Beachy. I'm pretty sure that this is the light color because I felt like they looked I felt like the light one looked like it was going to be a good one for me. This one looks beautiful on the skin, but for me, makeup is all about an experience. I don't wear makeup to look pretty. I don't wear makeup to look presentable. I don't wear makeup for other people. I wear it for me. And part of wearing makeup for me is applying makeup. I want the whole experience to be wonderful. I love the packaging of this one, and I had the old one of these from Kosas and I decluttered it because it smelled rancid. It smelled like French fries, like old French fries, like rancid fat. And this one, it still smells very much like French fries. I don't know if it smells rancid, but it's just something about this smell. It feels like I'm applying grease on my skin because it smells like old food grease, and I just it just takes away a bit from the experience because I love a glowy bronzer on the skin. It is the perfect way of adding a little dimension to your face, but still when the sun hits you. So this is the perfect bronzer to use if you are having a light makeup thing and you're gonna be outdoors in the sunshine, because when the sun hits on it, it's gonna just turn light, so it doesn't look like an unnatural shadow. That's the good thing about a glowy bronzer. So I'm still gonna keep it, I'm still gonna use it, but the smell, I know smell isn't about performance, but it's definitely a part of like the experience. I just talked about the Blend Bunny lip oils and I really love those, and I do think that the blush palettes by Blend Bunny Cosmetics are nice as well. The quality is nice, the colors are nice. This is the bright one, which is just so fun. The thing is that, as you can see today, I never wear a matte cheek. I don't need a matte blush in my life, and this is a big blush palette. If you love matte blush, and if you love indie brands, and if you love a blush palette, I don't think you'd be disappointed with these at all. They are very pigmented though, so don't be like swirling and going in unless you have a deep skin tone, because it is going to be very pigmented on your cheeks. On the other side, again, if you have a deep skin tone, you will definitely be able to get these to work on your skin, at least most of the shades in both palettes, because of how pigmented they are. I just don't do matte blushes, and I don't reach for blush palettes. It's just the harsh reality of things. So even though I love Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and even though I am sure that this release is perfect for a lot of people out there, because there's nothing wrong with it, this is where preference comes in. It's just not meant for me. Next palette is gonna be the new release from Geology Cosmetics. This is the Wheat Belt palette. I do have a reel where I'm using this one. This is a very fun color scheme, and this is a very beautiful palette. I don't know, this is me guessing. I'm guessing that Geology Cosmetics shifted their manufacturer or like something like that, because the packaging is very much thicker now, and I miss their slim packaging. I really do. This just feels a little bit like a rock, like a piece of brick, and I kind of just wish that the size would go down again. I think the color story is beautiful. I think the quality is nice. It's not my absolute favorite matte formula, but it's definitely a beautiful formula. I made an amazing look with this. I like that it's matte heavy because that's my favorite way of doing makeup, but I also realized that if you're into shimmers, you only have 2 to choose from. But I really like this palette. I just wish that the packaging would go back to what it was before, or at least something slimmer than this. And I also really would like the mattes to be just a smidge more pigmented. But that is my personal preference, and I know there's a lot of people out there that prefer something that is not fully opaque at the first go and a little bit more buildable. It's a nice palette, but not my absolute favorite this month. Now we're getting into the lipstick that I got from Pat McGrath. I don't have a lipstick from Pat from before. I think that this is cute. I don't hate the bow. I know some people hate it. I think it's pretty cute. It is a plastic component, but also the prices of these are very much lower than the prices of the lipsticks in the black packaging. So I mean, I gotta say, I would rather pay a little less to get plastic packaging if that is the reason. I got mine in Nude Fantasia. Nude Fantasia. It is a beautiful color. It looks like a nice satin lipstick on the lips. The only reason why this isn't at top is that when I use this and I talk a lot, I do get the white rim. I don't love that, and even though it's creamy, it's beautiful, it feels nice on the lips, it gives me the white rim, so I do need to babysit it a bit. This is the Hindash Color Fluid in Rising. This is very, very, very similar to the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. They are extremely pigmented. One little drop is enough, and I think that for a formula that is meant to be like a... You can use it on your eyes, you can use it on your lips, you can use it on your cheeks. I think that it is very pigmented for something like if you were to put a little bit too much on your eyes, you would be able to blend it into like literally your hairline. So I would have wished for this to be just a smidge less pigmented because it is very blendable and it is very pigmented. And also, there's nothing wrong with this. This is a nice formula. This is a good product. This is just me being nitpicky. The reason why this one is a little bit lower is that you can get this cheaper with more colors to choose from. Like, I understand that this also works on the eyes and on the lips, but at this point, there are so many liquid blushes out there, so that I think that if you're charging more for your blushes, what you have to offer more formula, even easier to work with, more colors to choose from, and there are not that many colors to choose from, and you can get a very similar result on your cheeks with the Juvia's Place one, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And this is the Glaminatrix Into the Night. I love Glaminatrix formula, and I love this formula as well. The reason why this one is lower is that I don't love this color story. I think it is... I don't want to say challenging because I don't know if challenging is the right word, but it is a little moody and almost gray color leaning blended with like really bright neons. And theoretically, I think that sounds like something that would appeal to me. But when I look at this color story, I'm actually having a hard time figuring out looks that I want to do that I would really like. And I don't really know why, because the quality is beautiful. This is just a color story thing. Metallics are wonderful. There are duochromes in here. There's a multichrome in here. The mattes are wonderful. It's just a color story that's like, it's not my favorite. And the palette that they released before this one, the color story is just so spectacular. I think this product is a really high quality product that does exactly what it says it's gonna do. And this is the Glitter Puck by Half Magic Beauty. It is just a little glitter puck that's in here. It is not like a super shock. It is more like a cream to a powder product that gives a very high shine, sparkly, almost glittery rose gold result on the cheeks and on the body. And if you were looking for something like that, I do have a video where I'm demoing this. You can search for it on my channel. I think you would like it. For me, I don't know exactly when I'm going to be using this, but it definitely does exactly what it's going to be doing. And if I am ever like wanting something, an extra pop of like a wet, sparkly, glittery appeal to the skin or on my cheeks or anywhere, this definitely is that. I just don't know how much use I'm gonna get out of it. But like if you're going to a festival, I think this is nice and it's way more sophisticated and easier to use than one of those like glitter sprays or glitter puffs. I mean, it's a nice product. For me, the ways of using it is a little bit limited. I bought one of the new lipsticks that released from Hourglass. I bought mine in Sahara, I think. Yes, these are the unlocked lipsticks. I bought this like reddish terracotta. You know, I love stuff like this, like an orangey burnt red thing. Ugh, love it. This is a really nice lipstick. It goes on thin and it looks really pretty on the lips, but with me, and this is just me, if I'm gonna buy an expensive lipstick, I don't know what I need. I need a specific color, like, or a specific component. This component is nice, but it's just a gold component. Like for me, for example, if I buy the Gucci lipsticks, it is an amazing, cool component that I cannot find in a like more inexpensive brand. The colors and undertones are usually very different and almost a little bit like high fashion. There's something different to it. And also the names are super cool. I mean, this is a good quality lipstick, but can you not get a similar result for less money? You definitely can. Like, you definitely can. Like this one, for example. This is from Jason Wu, and this one is in Biscotti. This is a matte bullet lipstick, and you can get this one at Target. This color is this, like, what I have now, but just lighter. I think that I should have gone for something that had a little bit more color to it. As you can see here, it's just, when I have a tan, this is just my skin tone, and it almost turns into like concealer lips, but make it 2023. And it's not the perfect color for me, but I think it is really, really pretty. And I kind of want to get this in another color and see if I can use it even more, because I do think this is a beautiful comfort matte. So it is a matte lipstick, but it goes on, maybe because I'm not tan on the side of my hands. Maybe it is even more similar to what I have now, just a little bit lighter. I think that this is a beautiful formula that is a soft matte color on the lips, and honestly, I like it. I just think the color, when I wore it on, I'm like, it's nice, but it's not perfect. But I think the reason is that it's just, at least when I wore it, because I had more tan then than I do now, it was just a little bit too similar to me. These are the liquid multichromes by Gloss Gods. These are great. If you're looking for a liquid multichrome, if you're looking for something like this to use either on your lids or to use, let me pull one of these out. This one is in Let Me Love You, maybe as a liner or maybe as a topper. Like look at that. Like, do you see that? It is really an amazing formula, and it is super, super pretty, and it's like a sparkly multi-chrome topper. This one is like, when I look at it here, it is a blue and then green, and then I have a little purple in it as well. It is just a really fun color, but these are not 100% opaque. These are better than the liquid multichromes by Colourpop by a long shot. These are so much better than that, and they come in different colors. And my preferred method to use these and to put them on is either to do it with a liner brush and just take the liner brush on the doe foot and just do a liner, or to put the doe foot on the lid and then go over with a fluffy brush and just spread a thin layer as a topper on my over my eyeshadows. But I think that these are really nice. I know that other indie brands in the US as well have a similar product, but I definitely think that these are fun. Super sparkly, super fun, super beautiful, very impactful. Do you need all shades? Definitely not. But if you were looking for something fun to add to your collection, and if you feel like you have a wide array of products, buying one of these could be something to add to your looks to just create a different look. Colourpop reformulated their shadow sticks, and they used to be pretty mediocre, but they did reformulate them to something that's actually really good. What I'm missing in this collection is that I wish that they would bring out more matte ones so that you can use them as eyeshadow primers. I know that back in the day, Kiko Milano had amazing eyeshadow sticks that were matte. You can really you can get an opaque layer and blend it out on your lid and then just blend with mattes like other eyeshadows on top, and they were so good. These are a similar formula to those. I really think that they were able to perfect a really good formula. This is the orange one that is called Friday Feels, and it is a really nice, smooth, metallic, and just, it doesn't bunch up. It doesn't become streaky, and you can see it just looks very, very impressive, and it went on super nicely. And like I said, it doesn't become streaky or bunch up or anything like that. I really think that they perfected this formula. I just want to have more matte ones, because I love using eyeshadow sticks like this for my eyeshadow primer, but they don't have one, because I have one matte here that is closest. Oh my god, there's stuff everywhere. That is closest to my skin color. This one is in Cocktail Party, and this is a matte one. But as you can see, it is still too dark to be like an actual primer for me. And I just kind of wish that they would bring out some of these in more like primer-esque colors for all skin types, and also some colored ones that are matte, because I really think that a lot of people would enjoy that, me included. But this orange one, it's really nice. The first time I used this, I wasn't overly impressed with it, and this is the new Radiant Bronzers by MAC. I have mine in medium golden. This is the Radiant Skin Finish Bronzer. Someone told me that they like pulled them because they smell bad, and mine does smell bad. Has mine gone bad? Haven't been using old makeup? Because it does smell a little sour. It does smell a little bit like a dumpster. I'm not gonna lie to you. The reason why this one, like I said, I got this in medium golden. Sometimes I get a light bronzer, and I thought on the website the light one just looked so light because I am a light medium. Sometimes when they don't offer a light medium, I'm like, or did they offer light? I don't know, but this shade down from this just looked very light. But now having it, I probably should have picked the shade down from this one. But this one is called medium golden, and I do think it has a little bit of too much orange in it, so it does pull a little orange on the skin, which honestly I can just, when I use this as a bronzer and blush all in one, which honestly works out pretty good. But if I were to be like freely pick what I would like something, because I love the powder bronzer from Fenty in the shade Private Island. That for me is the perfect medium golden. It is such a good undertone. If you have a golden undertone but you want to skip some of the oranges, I think it is amazing. This one is just leaning a little smidge too orange to be my favorite, and now the smell is making me worried. Because I don't dislike the formula. I think this is a beautiful formula, like a radiant without being sparkly, without being metallic, but like, should I throw this? Asking for a friend. Next one I want to talk about is the Lethal Cosmetics. This is called a Wildflower, I think. I was looking at the back, but there's literally, like it always is on the Lethal palettes, where you can pull them out. I think that this is a beautiful palette, and I had a lot of fun creating looks with this one. The only reason why this one isn't on top, because I've really been enjoying Lethal Cosmetics as of late, is that first of all, some of my shades came broken, and I have heard that a lot of you got broken shades too, which shows me that maybe some of these formulations were a little bit too soft. Maybe a little bit too soft. And also, this is a little, not my perfect color story. I think I like the Night Flower color story more, but I really do appreciate this color story as well. And I was able to create some really stunning looks that I truly loved, and you seem to love them as well. And overall, even though I created 2 different looks with this, and I have done a look outside of YouTube as well, and I wish that my shades of course weren't broken, I still am able to think of even more stuff that I would be able to do with this palette that's like different from what I have done. I think this is a beautiful palette. It's not as good as the Night Flower palette, and I really hope they're able to figure out these broken shades kind of situation. But overall, I think it is a really good palette. I did have an affiliate code with Lethal Cosmetics up until the last of May, and I'm very sorry because I think that this one is actually coming out in June, so that code to give 15% off is unfortunately not there anymore. But if you would like Lethal Cosmetics to have something like that again, do let them know, because that is how brands know which ones you think should have codes and stuff. But I do think that you can still use my code Angelica for 10% off. I do think that this is a permanent palette. I don't think it's limited edition, at least not at this point. I know a lot of people were going crazy bananas over the Givenchy concealer. This is the Prism Libre Skincare Concealer. This one is good, but it's not perfect for me. And I think the reason why it's not perfect for me is again because I have a lot of fine lines under my eyes. If I use enough of this to be a full coverage on me, it starts creasing. So I have to use lesser amount of this. It reminds me in that regards, not formula wise, but in that regards, it reminds me a little bit of the, what was the concealer that was like so amazing unless I used too much? I don't remember, but like this one, I have to settle on a medium coverage, which is fine by me. But there are some formulas that like I can trust that even if I accidentally put on too much, it's not gonna crease on me. This one will crease on me even if I powder throughout the day, if I accidentally put on just a little bit too much. So it's one of those concealers where I have to be mindful when I apply it. So it's like, oh yeah, this is the one where I have to be like this amount and not more. It's a nice concealer. I really do like how it looks under my eyes if I don't accidentally get too much on. So I've been trying to experiment with this one together with a corrector to be able to correct some of my under eye darkness, and then put a small amount of this on top and get a result together. I still haven't been able to get that to fully work. So I like this concealer. I understand why some people like it even more than I do, but if you have a lot of fine lines under your eyes and you like a full coverage concealer and you don't have to babysit something, maybe I wouldn't recommend this one to you. I actually like the Huda Beauty Fall Filter Concealer more than I like this one. I also like the LYS concealer more than I like this one. It's a good concealer, but I don't foresee this one like replacing those two. I was very impressed by this formula, and I've been a lipstick junkie as of late. I've tried so many different formulas, and I was sent this matte lipstick formula from Nabla, and this one is a Naked Mauve. And look at this color, and I have the full range, and honestly, I think all the colors are super beautiful, except that super bright pink. That's just not the color that I usually wear. I do have a swatching, like lip swatching video where I'm swatching all of these. This is a beautiful matte formula. It reminds me a little bit of the Give Beauty matte lipstick formula, and you know how much I've been raving about that one. This reminds me a little bit of that one. This one is not as filling in the lines of your lips as much as that one, but it is very similar. It is just looking very matte but still not drying on your lips, unless you are like suffering from very dry lips. Then a matte lipstick is always going to be drying for you. But if you're not suffering from super dry lips, this is a really beautiful matte lipstick formula, and it is available at Ulta. I just think this is a great one, and I'm excited that I got this in PR because I have totally been sleeping on this formula, and it's honestly really good. I'm gonna put this one here, even though just know I absolutely love this one, but I've only tried one of the shades, so I'm just reviewing this shade. Had I known more about more shades, I maybe would have even put this at #1 because I think it's so beautiful, but I've only tried one shade, so I can't like speak for the whole range. But this is the Moira Signature Lipstick in Natural Look #5. It is such a nice satin leaning, almost a little bit more on the glossy side. It is a thin but still opaque lipstick that just looks and wears beautifully. I do not get the white line, and it just is a wonderful formula, and I'm so surprised to see this good of a lipstick formula come from a affordable like drugstore brand. I don't want to say drugstore brand because it's not sold at a drugstore. If you're living in Texas, you can find it at H-E-B, but it's just a really good formula. And again, I've only tried one color, but I can definitely vouch for #5. It's amazing. If I make another order for Moira, I will definitely order another one because I want to see if it's like consistent amongst the different shades. But this one, it's great. I have been trying the Unearthly Cosmetics Low Light Highlighters in the singles, and there are 2 different formulas within this one. Let me see. This one, that is called Twilight. It is like a white sparkly that is meant to look a little bit like the Diamond Bomb by Fenty, you know, that like wet look sparkly on the cheeks. That's not for me. I don't like that look on me. It's a very icy sparkle. If you are looking for that, but from an indie brand, this one in Twilight might be for you. I like the other ones more because those ones are multi-chrome highlighters, and they're also a little bit more expensive than this one, like the other one, the sparkly one, because that one isn't multi-chrome. But Mirage is a peach to a gold to a green, a little bit like Prophecy, just letting you know right now. And then we have this one that is a purple to like a bluish turquoise, super pretty. And then we have the one that is called Spellbinding, that is more like a bright pink to a like a gold to a green, very similar to, what's the other one? The other one from Kaleidos, not the Prophecy, but the other multi-chrome that came out, similar like colored thing. It also is a similar kind of a formula. This is a very nice, super smooth, glides on the skin multi-chrome that really looks impactful, and that truly is multi-chrome in different lightings without looking like an eyeshadow because it has a more transparent base. Honestly, these are really good multi-chrome highlighters, and if you were looking to get a multi-chrome highlighter, I definitely would recommend these. They're super good, and you can get 10% off with my code Angelica. And honestly, I think that these single multi-chrome highlighters, she's really onto something with these. They're really nice. I didn't think I was gonna love this, and I have heard mixed reviews of this, but I am pleasantly surprised. And this is the Pat McGrath bronzer. I have mine in Bronze Dawn. I don't remember exactly what this is meant to be, but I would say that this is probably a light to medium with the warm undertone. That's what I would describe it as. This is very buildable. This is that like luxury matte formula that is buildable to the point that you can build it to be darker than it appears in the pan, which honestly is like a magic trick in its own, and it's just so cool to see. So even though this looks almost like my skin tone, I can get this to look like a very believable bronzy shadow on my skin. It blends beautifully. It has the perfect amount of sheer versus pigment. It is easy to blend out. It has a natural matte finish, so it doesn't look matte or like dusty or powdery on the skin, but it also doesn't have a sheen. I think this is beautiful. I've been very excited about mine, and I also, when I opened it, I was worried that this was going to be too light for me, but no, this is a perfect shade for me, and I'm super excited that I bought this in the Sephora sale. I've been using it a lot. If you go through some of my videos and see, like, I always link the makeup, or I try to always link the makeup that I'm using, you can see that I've used this a lot. And now on place number 2, again, I've only tried one shade, but I am so impressed. I did swatch a bunch of shades at Ulta, and when I swatched them and blended them out, I thought all of them performed similarly, and that's why I feel a little bit more comfortable putting the liquid blushes from Juvia's Place at number 2. These are very beautiful. Again, it is a pigmented formula. You only need one dot, but it's very easy to blend out. You can blend them with a brush, you can blend them with your finger if you prefer that, or with a sponge. My preferred method is with a sponge. These are matte, and I really hope that they will come out with either glowy versions of these or a highlighter version of these, because I think the formula is beautiful, and they really are. I hate using the word dupe because I think there are so many more things that like needs to be in the whole range of dupe when it comes to dupes, that they are so similar to the liquid blushes from Rare Beauty, and they have more colors to choose from, that I would definitely say if you want to buy the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, buy one from Juvia's Place instead. They look the same on the cheeks, they blend out the same, the shades are not necessarily maybe all dupes of each other, but they are so much more affordable and they are so similar on the cheeks. I really, really like this formula, and I am definitely getting at least one more. I saw they had one that was like a bricky red, and I'm like, I think that will be mine. I think that will be mine. And now we're getting into my number 1, and these lipsticks by Nabla are so incredibly good. These are the, oh, this is the red one. This is the Jelly, Beyond Jelly. This one is in Blooming. They are just a beautiful, they are pigmented, but they're also like, they, if you go one layer, they're going to be a glowy sheer, but you can build them up and you can get a, yeah, Beyond Jelly is such a good name for these because they turn into a glossy gel-like look on the lips, but they don't look like a lip gloss. They don't look like those Tarte ones because these are stable enough so you don't have to click them up. They are in a stick. So I feel like the Tarte ones, sometimes they are so soft that you have to go in a little bit carefully because they can turn out a little goopy on the lips. Like you can accidentally have too much product on your lips because they are almost too soft. These are the kind of formula where you are in charge. You decide how much you want on your lips, and they are so beautiful. Sheer to buildable, the colors are wonderful, the wear time is wonderful, they feel balmy and jelly on the lips, not sticky, not goopy. The color range is wonderful. Like this red is stunning. I have a video where I'm lip swatching all of these as well, and I'm just very impressed. And I'm so excited that I used to be on the Nabla PR list, and then for a while I wasn't, which is perfectly fine. And then they reached out and asked if they could send me a couple of things. And I'm so excited that the things that they ended up sending me, which are 2 lip collections, are just so great. Not that I'm surprised. Nabla makes good makeup, but I'm like, especially this one. Oh, it's so good. I have not seen this one at Ulta yet. The matte one is at Ulta, but I really hope Ulta gets this one too because they are so good. And okay, that was everything for this video. I would love to hear, do you have any makeup items that you have been absolutely loving as of late? I would love to hear all about it. I do try out a lot of makeup every day, all weeks. Sometimes I just sit down and play with makeup to be able to like gather my thoughts about these items and letting you know what I really think out there is like worth trying and worth picking up. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. Thank you again, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this video. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will see you again really soon for a new video. Bye!